And so on Monday, I'm running one of my new cohorts. I run them every couple of months where I give a small group of people together and we go on a maybe 6-session journey to invest. And on Monday, we're starting a new one called From Zero to Paid, how to build your online business from scratch. And what I thought I'd do today is share a few of the insights that we might cover in that program so that you get a bit of a taster. And if you want a more in-depth support, you might want to sign up for Monday. And if not, then you get loads of free value. So it's a win-win all around. And I love just sharing practical tips. So this is going to be super practical, super tactical in our session today. And if you've got any questions as we go along, then just drop them in the chat. I can see the chat right here. So I'll keep an eye on them and I'll try and share the questions. It's only me. I haven't got a massive team around me. So if I miss any questions, just post them again. And we're thinking about like Alex Hormozi's books. So he's written 3 books, 100 million offers, leads, and then his money models, his latest one. And I've read them loads of times. And not all of it is relevant if you're running an online business, but I've kind of scoured it for all the tactics, all the techniques from there that would apply if you're trying to run a business online. And there's quite a lot in there that you could use. And I've spent time kind of experimenting then and seeing the impact. And the impact actually has been quite huge on the amount of money that I've made. I mean, I did a rough calculation and I reckon I've probably made about $23,000 more because of his tactics. And that might be a slight underestimate. But as long as you all promise not to tell him, because I don't want him sending me an invoice for how much he's made. But I thought I might save you the trouble of devouring all his books, although I would recommend you definitely do that. And I just want to show you how it might help you make more money online. And so even if you're at the beginning of your journey, even if you're just in the process of building an audience on Substack, you're not making money yet, this is still going to be really, really helpful to you, because often it's good to know where you're going, because that might actually shape some of the content that you're doing right now and be kind of really helpful just to understand, rather than get there when you start to launch a first paid offer and realize actually there's some things that you could have thought about on the way. And just yesterday, actually, it was somebody signed up for From Zero to Paid, the cohort I'm launching on Monday, which normal price is $225. But it ended up, they signed up yesterday, and because of the Alex Hormozi tactics I was using, he paid me $400. Right. So instead of $255 from one person, I got $400 from that sale yesterday. And so this really works. It's very current. And I'm going to give you all the tactics that I'm currently using. And you might not, and I'll explain the kind of thinking behind them as well. And you might not use them in exactly the same way, but by understanding what they work, understanding how I apply them, then you might be inspired how that might kind of work for you. And any questions, drop them in the chat or afterwards if you message me, because we're going to go quite fast. There's a lot to cover. If there's any particular products I talk about or techniques and you're like, where was the pitch for that? So I can look at how you did it. Just send me a message, send me a DM, Derek Hughes at Irresistible Writer, if I don't see it in the chat. Okay, so that is the introduction. And so we're going to do 4 different tactics from Alex Hormozi that I've used to increase how much money I've made. And I'm going to tell you what the tactic is and how I've used it. And the first one is, and I'm going to use Hormozi's names for them, all right, which is pretty generic. I think if you've been around the business world, you might recognize some of these. So the first one is this. Well, imagine that you go, in the olden days, you'd go to the shop to buy a washing machine. All right. So you go to the washing machine and the salesman meets you at the door. And he says, what are you looking for? And you say, I'm looking for a washing machine. And he chats to you a bit. And you ask questions, say, what's the difference between this model and that model, etc. And he'll tell you which ones are brilliant. And usually it's the more expensive ones, isn't it? And he's just saying how much of a bargain it is and how great it is. And eventually you agree to buy the washing machine. Now, this might be UK specific. I don't know if this happens in other countries, but this definitely happens in the UK. You get told how brilliant the washing machine is. And so you decide to buy it. So he says, well, come over here. We'll fill in the paperwork. And as you fill in the paperwork, this fantastic, brilliant washing machine that he's told you all about, is he starts to change his tune. And he starts to say, well, it might break. Do you know what I mean? There's a chance. I mean, you're covered for a year on warranty, but after that, it might break. And if it breaks, it's going to be kind of pretty costly. And so, really, what I suggest you do is you buy this insurance warranty. And if you buy this insurance warranty on top of your washing machine purchase, then actually you will have peace of mind and you'll never have to worry for the next 5 years if there's any problems, it'll get fixed and all that sort of stuff. And you don't notice that you've went from a brilliant washing machine to one that might break, because if you started with that, you probably wouldn't buy it. But essentially, he gets you to buy the insurance, all right? Because you're on the crisp of buying it. You've got this brand new washing machine. You don't want anything to happen to it. So you are putty in his hands for him to sell you a second product, which solves some of the problems that the first one doesn't. That's called a bump product. It happens in the US as well. All right. That's called a bump product. And it's a brilliant piece of helping people. Now, that was a bit of a salesy example because he's kind of tricking you or trying to manipulate a little bit. But actually, you can use it to really help you. All right, in a real way, if you want to be kind of an ethical person who wants to help people as much as possible. And here's how it works: that when someone buys your main product, just before they get to the checkout, you offer them a bump product. Now, a bump product is much cheaper than your main product. It's kind of an easy decision. It's just a little add-on. And your big product's going to help one problem, but then this is just going to help you travel further. It's going to travel faster. All right. So it might be you sign up for. So let me give you an example. So if you sign up for from 0 to paid on Monday, the light cohort, so you get 6 sessions with me, and we'll walk through the 6 steps to build your business from scratch and all that sort of stuff. And if you go to that, you'll be offered a bump product. And the bump product will be, well, if you want to make a business from scratch and we'll give you all the lessons and show you the journey, you could actually buy a digital product toolkit that'll have all the tools and the templates in there that if you wanted to make a digital product as part of stuff, you could buy that. Now, normally that's $100. That's how I sell that normally. But when it's a bump product for Monday's course, you'll get it for $50. All right. So it's half price and you're at the checkout. And I'm saying, actually, I'll throw this in for you if you want. Because if you're trying to build a business, then you want to make a digital product. And all these tools will help you get much quicker. And then I'll say, actually, and you probably want to write lots of sales emails if you want to make money. And what I've collected is all my, I think 50 of my own sales messages, and I put them in a pack that have made me like 100 grand or whatever. And if you want the exact ones that work for me, you could buy the real sales pack. Now, normally that's $60, but you could have it for $29 at the bump checkout. So suddenly something that was $229 will become $300 in sales for me. But for you as a customer, then you're not only getting the live cohort, but you're getting a 50% discount on 2 other products that are exactly what you will need. So I win and you win. You get a massive discount of something that really helps. And so what I always recommend for people is that you want to have extra products. Never sell one product. I mean, imagine that instead of $255 for fiat from 0 to paid, that I make $300 every time. You've just gone up by, I can't do the maths, maybe a third. You know, you've just increased the value from every single customer. And so you've spent, I mean, some of us spent 6 months getting it from someone who doesn't know us. We build a relationship, we build trust, and then we build a landing page. And it's a massive journey to get from 0 to $25. But to get from 225 to 300 or whatever it might be in your case, that tiny journey, that big journey can be done like so easily. It's the easiest way to make more money. So I tell people always, don't sell single ebooks on Gumroad if you want to make serious money. Always have additional products. Now, this can sound massive if you haven't built anything yet. You're thinking, I don't even know what my first product is, never mind a second product. But trust me, if you build 2. So when I launched my very first product, I was on Medium at the time. It was called the Ultimate Headline Toolkit. And my audience was mainly people writing on Medium, and headlines were key if you're writing on Medium. And so at the same time, that was probably $69 at that time. At the same time, I created another course, which was how to make your first $1,000 on Medium. So it was how to grow on Medium. And that was $69 as well. But I made it a bump product for the headline toolkit. So right at the beginning, my first sales, I was making over $100. And then what I would do, now that sounds like a lot of work, But then 3 months later, I would launch how to make your first $1,000 on Medium as a course. And then I launched it and I was like, hey, I need a bump product for this. Do I need to create a bump product? No, no, not at all, because I've already created that one. So what happened is the headline toolkit became the bump product for Medium 1000. And so rather than causing me more work, it had already done. So I always encourage people, like Dylan, he's trying to think about his first product or whatever. Then don't think about your first product. Think about your first two that are going to serve the audience. And then one's your main product, one's your bump, and then you launch again in 3 months' time and you just reverse it round. It's the easiest way. And the amount of effort it takes to get that extra bump product is nothing compared to how much more money that you will make. So here's the key about bump products. They need to be cheaper, less than half price of your main product. All right. So don't have your main product $100 and then sorry, I'm starting to read the chat and stuff. Don't charge $100 for your first one and then your second one be $100 as well. Your second one needs to be cheaper, half price or less. And it also needs to make sense to your audience for that sale point. All right. So if you've got someone buying a washing machine and you were like, oh, do you want some coffee with that? That doesn't make any sense. So for your audience, think about the exact person who needs this product. What are the problems that they need? How do you complement it? So like Monday, how do you build a business from scratch? We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how to build your audience, etc. But showing you the digital product toolkit to help you how to make digital products quicker, that makes a lot of sense for that audience. So think about your audience. And it doesn't have to be the same format. Your main product can be video course, and then your bump product is a set of templates. All right, your main product can be a video course, and your bump product is an email course. You can mix it up however you want. It doesn't kind of matter. But templates and toolkits, that's often the easiest thing that you can do to serve people, because at the bump stage, they're really keen on something that's just going to make it faster, just going to make it easier. Or you could give them a set of AI prompts or whatever it might be, right? But always, always, always have a bump product. It is the easiest way to make money. And you need a platform that's going to help you with that. So I always use Thrivecar. Thrivecar is the easiest place, really, I think, if you want to make products and sell them. You can use Teachable, Kajabi, stuff like that. And some people do, and they're brilliant products as well. They're just a lot more expensive. And I like to pay less for stuff that does the same job. If you want to know about Thrivecar, just send me a DM and I'll tell you more about that. All right. So for a lot of these, you do need tools that are going to help you, but it's more than worth it in terms of the amount of money that you will make. Okay. So that's the first one. You always have bump products, even if you're starting at the beginning, and make sure you got a platform that will support that. Right. Second one. Let's go back to our washing machine. All right. So you go back to your washing machine and the guy's trying to sell you the washing machine, and it's got a big drum and it's got all the fancy features, and maybe it's a smart one and all that sort of stuff. And you look and you're like, it's a really good washing machine. It's really fancy. But you say to the sales guy, listen, mate, I just don't need all that. I mean, probably, 75% of the staff at time, I'm staying with my girlfriends. I'm only home the odd weekend. And actually, I've only got a small amount. And so I just need it there for emergencies, really. So I don't want to really pay loads of money for a big fancy one with all the features and all that. I just need it as occasional. It needs to be quite small, do the job. Then what's the salesperson going to say? Is he going to say, well, no, you should really buy this one. You can buy this one. No. What he's going to do is he's going to go down the chain of products and he's going to find a small, cheaper one. Now, he didn't start with that because he wants to sell you the best one. He wants to make more money. But what he's going to do is what's called a downsell. So a downsell is when you take your main product and you knock out some features. So the washing machine, we're not going to have the smart facilities and we're not going to have the big drum. It's going to have half the capacity. It's going to strip out most of those features. And so you're just going to get the very basics. And it's going to be much cheaper. And then the guy might buy it. And so one second way that you can make more money is that you have a downsell where you take the main product that you're offering and then you offer a cheaper version of it, which might be you strip away some of the parts of it. So if it's a 7-module course, you might just offer one module. as a little kind of mini masterclass. If you're offering a course with templates attached, then you may just sell the templates on their own. You would find ways to just downgrade it for people. And so a few months ago, I was selling a AI agent, Irresistible Writer AI agent. That was a premium product. It was very personalized, and so I use all sorts of custom prompts that I've spent like the last year perfecting with my Irresistible frameworks and tailored to my audience and my voice and all that sort of stuff. And I was saying to people, I could build one for you where we do it in your writing style, and we keep my irresistible writing frames that I've developed, but we're going to aim it at your audience. So it's kind of very personalized, very customized product. And that was great. And the people who would purchase that and they'd sign up for the subscription, they'd send me their personalized stuff. I'd do it all in the back end and take all my details out and add your details. So you'd have a really powerful, effective thing. But it's quite expensive, all right, because it takes time for me to personalize it for you and all that sort of stuff. And then I was like, one thing that I noticed is it took a lot of personalized stuff. And so some people would buy it, but they had to answer some questions and they had to give me some information about their voice and the time. And some people just didn't have the time and they just couldn't be bothered. And they wanted something just quick and easy. And I realized at that point, not everybody wants a premium AI product. Then not everybody wants it personalized. Some people don't want to put in the time and effort of personalized. They just want to say, just give me the basics so it could just be fast and easy. And I don't mind losing some of the effectiveness if it can just be faster and easy. And I don't have to do any of the work. And that was my hunch. And so one of them is that I did a downsell. So I was like, actually, what happens if I strip away all the personal elements and you just get the basics, all right? It's a bit more generic, not quite as effective, but you don't have to do any work. You just pay and it's instantly there. And so I created the Substack writing engine, all right, which is the kind of that version of it. So $99 instead of hundreds, and you would get instant access. You don't have to do any work. You just press the button, you just pay, and then it'll be there. 6 customized prompts for Substack around writing posts, writing notes, getting ideas, getting posts that are quite deep and rich, improving your intros, all that sort of stuff. And the day I launched it, 4 people bought it. $99, there's $400 in the bag. Plus, I had some bump products that I would add to that as well. So it's not just 99, but then it becomes 150 because we get a bump product attached to that. But that was a downsell because not everybody wants the big fancy washing machine. And so whenever you create a product, always think about like, how could I do a downsell of this? And usually a good thing to do is do the downsell after the main launch. So do your main launch to people, and particularly if you use maybe Kit or something like that, you'll know who's interested in your product. And then the ones who are interested, what you could do is when the launch is all over, you could just send it to them and say, hey, I know that you were interested in this product, but you didn't sign up for it. Maybe you want an easier version, and here it is. And I bought a product of Nicholas Cole's actually recently, and he had this live cohort he was running. And I was interested in it, but I didn't sign up for it. And when the cohort was finished, he sent me an email saying, actually, you can get it much cheaper. And you'll get the videos, but it's not live anymore. But you could just watch the videos and get all the materials. Are you interested? And because it was much cheaper, I didn't mind it being cheaper and losing the live element. So there's lots of ways you can strip it. So from live to pre-recorded, just the templates and not the course. Lots and lots of different ways that you can strip it out. And if possible, offer it direct to the people who were interested. And you'll just make a few more sales. And this is like the one that takes like no effort because you've already created the product. And so just to separate the templates or separate one of the modules and then send it out again, yeah, you're making a lot more money in terms of charging, but you'll get people who will jump at the chance because they've already been persuaded by all your previous sales emails. They just weren't sure at that time. All right, so bump products. That's the first one where at the checkout, something gets added, a discount, something's going to help them. Then we've got the downsell where we strip away some of the features and we offer it to the people who are interested. So don't offer it to everyone, but offer it to the people who are interested. And you'll get a few more sales over the line with very little effort, just an extra email or two, which is a great way to make money. And everyone's pretty quiet. I haven't got any questions at the moment, so we will crack on. But if you've got any questions about Hormozi tactics that I'm using, then please drop them in the chat, or any questions about From Zero to Paid, which starts on Monday. But we got 2 more tactics, so we've covered 4, and these are the tactics together that have made me, at least 23K from Hormozi. So we've got the first one, which is the bump product, got the second one, which is the downsell, and then the next one is called the upsell. All right, great name. Some of these things, right? And so this is all based upon the idea that the person who's most likely to buy from you is the person who's already bought from you. So on nearly all of my products, if you buy one of my products, once you've paid, maybe even for Mondays, actually, if you sign up for the live call on Monday and you'll decide to take the bump or not, and once you've paid all your money, just as you're about to leave, a page will pop up and it'll say, hey, I mean, you really want to grow, you really want to make money online. Would you like a bit of personal support to do that? Because I want to offer you a one-to-one session with Derek. And to thank you for being a customer, we're going to give you a discount. So normally it's $150 to have a one-to-one with Derek. But as a thank you for purchasing this product, you could get it for $99 right now. You could book it in and you don't need to take it just now. You could take it when you completed the course or whenever you feel ready. So that's an upsell. So typically an upsell is a lot more expensive. All right. So bumps are little add-ons. They're quite cheap. Upsell can be more premium and typically is more premium, which is why we add in coaching, one-to-ones, that sort of stuff. And you make a lot less people buying the premium, but you make upsell, but you make a lot more money from it. And so that's why you can afford to do the discount for stuff like coaching. I mean, if everyone bought the coaching, then I'd be a bit sunk, but they don't, because it's a premium product, because it's, even at a discount, it's $99. And so one-to-ones tend to be the kind of easiest way. Or if somebody's buying a standalone course and then you offer access to your mastermind community, or you offer them access to a live cohort or something like that. I mean, it tends to be live is where the premium is at, either one-to-one or group. Generally, adding a course or more templates as an upsell, that's not going to work. That doesn't feel very premium to people. And this is like the easiest one to do, right, for you, because all you need for this is one page. You don't have to create a product. You don't have to prepare anything. You don't have to do any research, etc. All you do is one page. And if nobody buys it, then you've not lost anything. If somebody does buy it, then you message them and say, what do you want to get out of the session? They tell you. And if you need to do loads of prep, then you can do that. All right. You've got the kind of time. So you only prep for particular things. So, right, even if it's your first product, you could add an upsell of a one-to-one session with you, even at the very beginning. And you won't believe how many people will buy this for you. I remember that I'd been writing for 11 months. 7 of those, nobody had been reading on Medium. So really, 7 to 11, right? So 4 months I'd been successful, in quotes. I'd been growing, etc. And after 11 months, somebody messaged me and said, do you do one-to-one coaching? Like, I didn't do one-to-one coaching, but like, I didn't tell them that. I just said, yeah, I do one-to-one coaching. And then they were like, I'm interested in booking. How much is it? So I had to quickly set up a Stripe payment. I had to set up a calendar link and a video link. And off the top of my head at that time, I was just like, I think I said $100 off the top of my head. I said, it'd be $100. And then she said, okay, that's cool. $100. Teach me how to write, how to grow on Medium. I'd only been growing on Medium for 4 months and someone paid me $100 for an hour of my time. My wife was like, what is going on here? What are you doing on that computer that anybody's paying $100? I mean, that's a bit discouraging, isn't it? But hey, so you just never know. So always add an upsell, add that extra page, and nobody might buy, and that's absolutely fine. It doesn't take you very long to whack up an upsell page if it's about coaching. Does that sound all right? Yeah? Nothing to lose. You just never know what might happen. All right. I do it now all the time, and I forget actually it's there. So the sale I did yesterday that was $225 that turned into $400. The guy bought the product. The live course starts on Monday for $225. Then he bought the digital product toolkit, $50. Then he bought my sales emails, like $29. So we're up to about $300 at that point. And then he bought the upsell. He bought the coaching session with me and went up to $400. That was nearly double. All right. And it took loads of work to get him to that first 225. But to go from 225 to 400 is only a small gap to get them to that. So Don't leave people at that point. Okay, we're on to the last one. Yeah, there's Alison. I think Alison's bought one of my upsells. I think Alison might have booked a coaching session on me, so that's quite funny. So this one's quite a funny one, actually. The number 4. I really like number 4, and this is quite a new one for me, actually, that I've just been trying out. And when I read this in Hormozi's book, I was just like, that is like quite funny and actually quite clever as well. And I'm gonna have a go at that. All right, and here's how this one works. So, what we in March now? So about 6 months ago, Ellen got in touch with me, and Ellen had about 287 subscribers. All right, and for 15 years, she's been failing online to grow, and she spent a fortune with people trying to help her, all sorts of charlatans. I think, I'm not sure. Anyway, she got in touch and she's like, "Oh, I want your help." And I was like, "Oh, I've got one-off coaching sessions. I've got this course. I've got that." And she's like, "No, I don't want any of that. What I want is you to work with me one-to-one over a period of sessions, put together a growth plan, and let's just go for it and do it. Can you do it?" And I'd only done one-to-one, one-off sessions for people, really. That was my main thing. And my group stuff was the long-term work I'd done with people. And I was like, well, okay, hang on, let me have a think and I'll come back to you. So I thought about what that would look like working one-on-one with somebody to get them to grow on Substack. And I put together a 6-session program that we went through. And she went from like 287 subscribers to like 20,000. All right. That wasn't totally down to me. It was her brilliance, maybe a bit of luck thrown in, but it worked. And so then I had this program and 5 sessions, so like $750 I was going to charge for it. And so I had this program that I developed for Ellen. And then I was like, right, I've got this now. I wonder if anybody else wants it. So here's the question. I've developed a program, 5-session, personal one-to-one time with me to accelerate your Substack growth. We're going to go knee deep in the tactics. I'm going to look at your Substack, feedback, all that sort of stuff, right? $750, the most expensive product I've created. Who is most likely to buy that? All right, 3 questions, A, B, and C. If anybody's still listening to me, put A, B, and C in the chat, your vote. Who's likely to buy that? A is people who don't know me. I stick it on Facebook ads, or I put it on notes and hope to get with people who I've never met before, or I try and put it in somebody else's newsletter. Maybe I sponsor a post and try and get sold. That's cold leads, A, nobody who knows me. B is I send it to my list of free subscribers, people who like my comment, they inspired my journey. They're always putting comments on saying, "Oh, I love your stuff. It's so helpful and practical. It's understandable. You just seem like a normal guy," all that sort of stuff. And they subscribe to my free newsletter. That is B. They're warm leads. So do you think C, A, cold leads are going to buy it? Do you think B, warm leads are going to buy it? Or do you think C, people who've already bought my Substack stuff? So I've got like Substack Toolkit, which is loads of templates about growing faster on Substack, $99. 30, 40 people have bought that, I think. Who's most likely to buy my premium product? All right. Look at all you guys. Like, your guys are totally smart, right? You don't actually even need me to be telling anybody anything. You're already there. All right. So actually, C are the most likely. There's a small chance of B. There's no chance of A. All right, really. There's not a lot of chance of B, actually. There's a small chance, but C is where it's at. That's people who have, because when it comes to your premium products, not very many people go from free to premium. All right. What people do is they'll test you with maybe $100 product. All right. And then if they think, yeah, you definitely know what you're talking about, I trust you, now I'll jump to a $750 product. Yeah, I mean, some might buy. You're right, Rachel. B might buy it. There's a chance, but people who have already trusted you, there's a higher chance. So here's what I did for that product. So I was like, right, I've got this 750 product. Who am I going to offer it to? And I was just reading Hormozi's 3rd book at the time, and he had this really fun idea called the rollover upsell. The rollover upsell. So we know upsell is when you sell it to someone who's already bought your product, usually just as they bought it. A rollover upsell is this. When you go to the people who've already bought it and you say, listen, I've got a premium product for you, and you've already invested in something, And as a thank you and a sign of respect, what I'm going to do is credit you, give you a discount, but basically credit what you've already spent towards this premium product. Let me explain how this kind of works in practice. So what I did is I went to everyone who'd bought my complete Substack toolkit. $100 for people who want to grow on Substack, all my tools and templates that I currently use that's in the back end of my AI and all that sort of stuff. All these people who'd bought it already, $100. And what I went to them and I said, listen, I've got this premium program, one-on-one, $750. It's worked for Ellen and a few other people. And I want to thank you for your faith you've shown in me. And $100 you've given to me already, I'm going to credit it towards that course if you want it. And so basically, I offered it to those people for $650. I didn't offer it to the Bs and I didn't offer it to the As. I offered it to the Cs. And that does a number of things. Firstly, that makes it a bit cheaper for them, so they might come in. It's also a sign of respect that you're investing in me and I want to invest in you. And so it's all about kind of the relationship, as it were. And it gives a sense of specialness to your Cs to say, actually, you're investing in me. So people who invest in me and give me their money, I'm not just going to run off into the sunset. I want to reward you and I want to thank you. And people signed up, not everybody, but some people signed up to it. All right. And that is called the rollover upsell, where you take people who've already bought your stuff. And I mean, this only works on a premium product. Yeah. So you don't want to be given $100 off for a $150 program, but where it's premium and it's a lot of money, what you can do is say, listen, you've already bought something and I want to roll the value you've already given me into a discount. So I don't say discount, but I'll say I'll credit it towards a purchase of a bigger product. And so if you have already sold some stuff and you've maybe got small items, maybe less than $100, why don't you? I mean, the easiest thing to create is personal coaching, one-on-one stuff, because you can create that. And if nobody buys it, you haven't lost anything. But you could create a little 3-session plan or whatever. And if people have spent $50 with you, $100, you could credit that to them and say, if you want to sign up. I just think that's kind of an interesting relationship builder where you want to invest in the people who are investing in you. But that is the rollover upsell. So we got bumps, and then we've got downsells, and we've got upsells, which is straight after, and then we can do the fancy rollover upsell. And you just do that, and you'll make kind of really good money. You just take what you've done and you'll increase it by 20, 30%, something like that. So we've got a question from Alison about Hormozi talks about attraction offers. Do you consider your $39 masterclasses an attraction offer? So every month I do masterclasses, one-off masterclasses. Founder members get in free if they sign up for that, but I sell them as individually as $39. And people get the replay and all that sort of stuff. And in a sense, what that is doing is it's helping people take a first step into my world. So you want an easy first step, because once people have bought something from you, something changes, they think of themselves as one of your customers. And once they're one of your customers, they're more likely to buy from you again. All right. So if you think about a shop that you've never been in or a product you've never bought before, it's quite a big thing to buy one of their products. But once you've bought one of their products, if they email you something else, as long as it's a good product, then you're more likely to believe them. You're more likely to trust them. And so it's good to have kind of low ticket offers, low priced offers as the first step into your world. And really, I mean, the way I started with lower ticket offers as your first step, and then you get more premium as you go along. But as I add like these $200 cohorts, then I still want some accessible choices. And what really works about a masterclass, in answer to Alison's question, is it's face-to-face. I mean, it's virtual, really, but it means people get in the room with you. They can ask questions. It's not just a list of toolkits, as it were. And so that just gives the added edge, particularly in the world of kind of AI and a lot of generic stuff and people selling templates that you know they've just got from ChatGPT. Gives that personal touch of trust. Now, not everybody's comfortable face-to-face and that sort of stuff, but a low-ticket offer that is good quality is a good way as entry into your world. So even if you're creating a product now and it's $30, $40, $50 and you're thinking, oh, it's not going to make much money. Even if it doesn't make, millions, it's a first step. And once you've got people who've stepped into that and signed up, when you create another product in 3 to 6 months' time, we'll be the ones who will buy that. I've got people who've bought like every single product of mine, and that's like a crazy amount of money they've invested because they trust and they have seen the value. So so hopefully that was helpful. And that went on quite a long time. I did get quite excited about it because I just think it's really good stuff that really helps you think carefully about. And I know when you're trying to grow your audience, you don't really think about your offers. You just think, will anybody read my stuff? But it's worth thinking in advance, because a lot of my like free content has been the basis for some of my paid content. Like writing posts, you see what resonates, and that helps you think about your masterclass or your toolkit or your course or whatever it might be. And if any of those are really helpful, then please just send me a message. Glad you found it useful, Mike. If you've got any questions about any of the products, then please message me. If you want to be part of the live cohort starting on Monday, which we're going to help people build an online business from scratch over 6 live sessions, there will be a replay as well. And hey, even if you want to do that just to see what happens on the upsell page, then send me a message, or just go to my Substack homepage and you'll see on the top navigation menu from 0 to paid. But glad it was helpful. And give me a message if it was. I love to hear from people. And but otherwise, see you all next time. Bye bye.